Hey everybody, and I'm Scott from Scorpio Moon Tarot, and I'm so happy today to have Mascha with me from Musings by Mascha. And hi Mascha, thank you so much for coming on my channel.
Hi Scott, namaste everybody. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me.
You're welcome. I'm just pausing our video in the background. First of all, if you see me looking back, everybody, is because I can see YouTube chat a little bit better. So if I'm looking up, it's because I'm looking at you guys. So just wanted to put that out there. So what we're going to talk about today is about something that I think is so important, and I think I picked the perfect person for this because I knew that you were big into self-care, but it's by what we have gone over. Mascha is a master at this, so I can't wait to learn as well. I think I'm new to tarot, I'm new to all this, and so I'm going to be learning a lot, and I think a lot of people can. And also, everybody in chat, please feel free to put your questions for me or Mascha in the chat. If you would put them in caps, that would be awesome. But so we're going to be talking about self-care, tools, books, decks that help with self-care, and how it affects our lives when we don't self-care, and what that can be on like a physical, emotional, or spiritual level. So basically why it's so important and how it could just enhance our lives and even make it better than how we are now, right? So to everyone in chat, let's see who we have. And first in is the lovely Jackie. I'm so glad you're here. All right. And then we have Miss Shauna. And so I'm going to do a real quick shout out because if you didn't catch my live with Shauna last weekend, I did one with her, and she sent me as a thank you a whole bag of these tags. So what you do is you take the little tags here, and then you can write which deck you have. And then it's like so easy, right? You don't have to look in the bag. You can just like look on the ends. So this is my first one, Shauna. So thank you so much. And if you haven't been to Shauna's channel, I'm sure Jackie will put the link in for us. And please check her out. So I'm going to do that little channel shout out. And so when I saw her, and she was the second in, there's this lovely person named Musings by Mascha. Thank you for being here. I saw somebody say hi to Gerald. Okay, it's jumping a little bit. Okay, Gerald. Hey there, buddy. And let me see. Ben's here. Yes. Hey, Ben. All right, and let's see. Jackie's already gone to work. She's got your channel in there. Thank you for that.
Thank you, Jackie.
And there's our hen. I was hoping you would be here. And there's our Nancy. Thank you for being here, Nancy. And we're not skipping over anybody. Okay, I think we're all caught up. So yeah, looks good over here. So the first thing I wanted to talk about, and I've got a little outline just because of my ADD. Most of you know about that. So, but if we go off on our own, whatever questions you have, it can be about anything about self-care, whatever you want to say to us is more than welcome. So, I think me and Mascha are the same. We love to interact with the chat. So please feel free to do that. So I just want to start with what is self-care to you. So just like a general overall thing. Mascha, what is self-care to you, if you don't mind me asking?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure. Before I do, because you mentioned that I am a master of that, I am a master of none. I am student of many things.
Yes,
I am enthusiastic about everything. But no, mastery is like something that I don't have in anything. But yeah, self-care to me, it really is taking care, right? Self-care, taking care of my body, of my heart, of my mind, and of my spirit. Yes. And why it's important, why do self-care, right? It's just for me, me personally is to have vitality, to have energy, but also to have that kind of robustness and resilience and confidence as I kind of go through my life. So that's kind of, I guess, the short explanation what self-care is to me.
Oh my gosh. And I don't think I could have said it better. So that's exactly how I feel, just down to the nitty gritty. And I'm so glad you said that, because for me, it's not just physically, but it's emotionally, spiritually. It encompasses, all of our lives, to either self-care or not self-care. So, yeah, I love that answer. So, how does the lack of self-care affect our lives? So, you want to go first?
I can, yeah. Well, the lack of self-care, I guess it affects our lives physically. It affects our bodies, right? It affects our minds. It affects our mental health. It affects our spirit as well. So for me personally, also, it's just so important, because you see, like, I am an air element. My brain, like anxiety, panic attacks, I'm always thinking, right? So very air, very page of swords when it comes to kind of my mind and my mental state. So for me also, it comes about that lack of self-care means lack of self-discipline, because I really have to be on a routine to have a balanced life, right? So for me, for some people, probably self-discipline sound like a very kind of harsh word to apply to self-care, but for me personally, it's very important. And of course, like, I mean, lack of self-care, if I don't feed my body with nutritious food, my body, of course, is not performing it at best, right? It comes the same if I don't feed my mind with nurturing things through like reading and practices and meditation. It really affects the state of my mind and how I am, and it affects my behavior. And of course, lack of self-care affects my spirit, that I don't feel connected. I just kind of just float through the life. But yeah, so hugely.
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like I'm just echoing what you're saying. But yeah, it's all of those things, isn't it? And I was just thinking, for me, like, what kind of situations, would, come up that would lead more to us not self-caring. And I know, like, for me personally, is I moved up here in 2011. From 2011 to 2016, I was a caretaker for my mom. I'm still her power of attorney. So I think that happens to caretakers a lot, and maybe even new mothers. I'm not sure about that, because I don't have kids, but I would think so. That, and being just a parent in general, sometimes we are giving so much to other people that we forget to take care of ourselves too, right? And I think that can happen with, it can even happen in your friendships and relationships, but I think it does affect your friendships and your relationships, even if you think you're giving all your time to someone else and you got to be there for them, and I'll just skip doing this or skip doing that. It doesn't work, because you've got to take care of yourself first before you can help other people. And I've just seen that time and time again. So what do you think, like what would come up, that would relate to self-care, like being an issue for you?
Yeah, and the thing is, you see, like, I used to be like that. I used to think, well, if I kind of spend only time on myself, that would be selfish to the relationships I have. It would be selfish to my relationship with my husband. But it's actually quite interesting that people around me who know me, they know when I am imbalanced. Hi, Robin. Yeah, and what my husband does, when he comes home, he knows when I didn't, like, I don't have to talk to him, but he kind of looks at me and he knows if I haven't done my yoga or my meditation practice. So he tells me, just, honey, go to your room and I'll see you in an hour.
Oh,
Because he
wow.
knows how
That's
it's
awesome.
important to me. Yeah. So even if I'm kind of busy cooking dinner or doing things, so because people around you who really love you, they know that for you to be your best self and to be able to take care of them and be present with them, you really need to take care of your own self first. And it's not a selfish thing to do. And I embrace it now. It kind of was a journey, but it's we just have to do it. And also
Yeah.
like saying that I'm busy, yeah, but also like, part of self-care is actually ability of letting go, not putting things on the list. Like my self-care routine is huge, but it's developed over
That's awesome.
time, over years. But actually allowing yourself, okay, I'm letting go today of anything I gotta do, right? Letting go is a part of it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to put this comment up because I think it's very important. From Kristen, and she says, "I'm ready to do the hard work for self-care, afraid of what the future holds if I don't start doing the work. I don't want to become as sick as my mom is." And Kristen, you know that I can relate to you exactly with that because the situation my mom's in the nursing home, that I'm still, on the phone every day trying to figure out things with it doesn't stop when they're in a nursing home. So I get what you're going
Mm.
over exactly. And I don't claim to be a master at self-care at all. I'm still learning and I still make mistakes every day, just like everybody else.
Mm.
But, I'm so glad I'm doing this topic because I think it's just something that will help me personally and other people. So I am so glad you're here, Kristen. So thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you,
Did you want to say
Kristen.
anything did you want to say anything to her about that?
Yeah, well, Kristen mentioned hard work, and I mentioned earlier, it's very individual, right? How we approach our practices and our self-care. But for me, it comes with self-discipline, absolutely. Because, like, one of my teachers, he is a Zen teacher, so of course, sometimes he sounds very, like, harsh, right? But he says that self-discipline is the expression of self-love. And for me, certainly it is.
Yes. Yes.
And it's not for everybody, but for me, it's very true.
Oh, it is for me too. Yeah, definitely. I put them almost in the same category. And when I was going through the books and decks and everything, it was coming up as the same. Self care, self love, and just maybe get out there and not trying to be negative, but just saying when you're in a lower density, right? What happens if you don't self care? So, how do you think it affects you physically, Masha?
Well, physically, let's talk about like what I do to self-care, right? So
Yes.
physically, for the body, it's my diet, it's my sleep, it's my
Mm-hmm.
exercise, right? So if I don't eat properly, well, firstly, I'm kind of very much in my head because I kind of don't feed myself either enough or feed myself the foods that are not good for me. So it can result in a weight gain now that I'm 40, right? So
Yeah.
that's one of those things. And then of course sleep is very important because I can't function if I don't get at least like 7 hours of sleep. So that that
Yeah.
that kind of affects how I am. I'm kind of groggy, I'm not clear, I'm not myself if I don't get enough rest through and for me also physically it's about touch, whether it's kind of hugging people, and in the COVID times it's like
Yeah.
it's been really hard. But for me, one of the practices of the touch is actually Ayurvedic self-massage, and that's important for me. So again, if I don't do it, I don't feel grounded and my body doesn't feel nourished. I don't know why on YouTube I seem to be blurry, but on StreamYard I'm okay. Yeah. I don't know if
Okay.
I'm
Yeah,
on the
you're a
blurry.
little bit now. You're actually, yeah, you're good now to me. So maybe
Ah, okay.
someone
On
can.
StreamYard it's okay, but yeah, on just YouTube it just seems to be
Oh,
blurry.
okay.
But
I'm not
yeah.
sure. Yeah. If you need to adjust anything, let me know.
I think like my internet shows that it's all fine.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
it's
does
all
on
right.
mine
We'll just
too.
see.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
you look
just
good
don't
on my
know.
end. Is
Yeah,
anybody
okay.
in chat? Can you see Masha? Okay. Can you hear her? Okay. She's blurry for me. Kristen
Hmm.
says. Okay. You're a bit blurry, still beautiful. Ryan says. Okay. So
Do you
yeah,
want me to like reset the camera for a moment, or you think we'll just
sure. Whatever you
continue?
want to do. Whatever you want to do. It's up to you.
Let me just.
Do you have lots of tabs open, Masha? Is what Jackie asked.
I just have one extra open, and
Right.
yeah, closed it. Yeah,
Because
I
you're
don't
clear for
know.
me, but again, this is different from StreamYard to YouTube. So.
Yeah. Because on StreamYard we're very clear, but yeah, we'll just I've
Mhm.
done everything that my computer can do, so I don't know.
Oh, okay. That's great. No problem. And if it keeps up, we can always try having you go out and come back in if you want.
Mm.
That's the only thing I know to try. But I see you fine. So, okay. So, Kristen did say you're clear now. Awesome.
Okay.
Yes. All right. So yeah, same thing with the physical part of it. I find when I don't physically take care of my body that um, I can be grumpy, I can be tired, like lots of lack of energy, right? And then one thing for me is that I can actually get sicker easily. And I think that happens to a lot of people if you're not doing, a self-care routine, or at least trying to do something during the day, that it's easier for you, because I think your immune system goes down maybe, and you can, take on negative things like feeling bad and being ill as well. So sorry, my. Okay, sorry for the hiccup. So emotionally, I was just putting that down, that if I don't self-care emotionally, like the grumpy, and I also, I dealt with anxiety and even depression, during my life, and I find that I'm more susceptible to that when I don't self-care. So what about you, for like emotionally?
Yeah, and it's all interconnected, like when I teach yoga classes, I kind of tell people body, heart, mind, nothing exists in isolation. Because when we kind of stressed, we don't take self-care, right? Stress affects our adrenals connected to kidneys are connected to anxiety and fear that we experience mentally, emotionally, right?
Yeah.
So you can't really kind of take one of those aspects of self-care, like whether it's physical, emotional, mind level
Right.
and spirit, right? Because it kind of affects us. It affects our emotions, or for me, how it would affect me. So I would get my anxiety back. I probably would have like kind of some episodes of panic attacks. That's when I'm imbalanced. And
Yeah.
for me, I don't get angry as much, but that self-frustration and
Right.
withdrawal, that's how it would affect me.
Yep. Definitely. Definitely. Yeah. And I'm glad you said that, because withdrawal is another thing that will happen to me, that I just have to step back for a minute and say, okay, it's becoming too much, and I'm like, oh, I'm not self-caring. That's why. So, yeah. And then I put a little side note that I was thinking about. So, how is self-care different than selfishness? So I'm going to throw that one at you.
Well, as I mentioned before, because in the past I did actually think that if I spend too much time on myself, because again, I like many practices. Hello, Candy. And that kind of, I did think honestly that I was selfish, right? And it's not. It's quite opposite, because if we perform the best we can for like in our lives for ourselves, of course we will be better family members, better partners,
Yep.
better parents. Well, I don't have children, but I'm a parent to my little chappy, my little dog. So yeah, it's not, self-care is not selfish, and it's a myth, and many people still do kind of put others before them, because they
Right.
think spending too much time in a bathtub with Epsom salts and a book and essential oils would be like wasting time, or not
Yeah.
giving enough time to
Right.
their relationships. Yeah.
It's also like you're getting more energy, right, from doing those things for self-care. And selfishness is, I think something that you would do, that would just be to, put yourself first over other people in a negative way. And I just see the self-care as a positive thing, because it's going to bring you to a higher vibration. Selfishness is a low vibration, but if you're doing it so that you can be your better self, and you be your better, just like you're saying, in relationships and in your family, to your best friends, to whoever, self-care is only going to increase those things, I think.
Yeah.
So I
And
love how
you
you
see,
said
like,
that.
and we can look at it like your self-care. Like if I take care of myself, my self-care doesn't hurt anyone in my family, in my relationship. Selfishness would hurt. So that's the thing. Like if
Yes.
we are selfish, that will damage your relationships in your life. But if you take good self-care of yourself, so you are your best self, it's like all people around you, your community, your family, whoever you engage with, they will benefit from it.
Definitely. I agree. Kristen says there's nothing wrong with being selfish to a point. You can't be there for others if you aren't at your best, right? That's why I was talking about there's the positive, which I see that as self-care. And then I kind of, say I see selfishness as being, like negative. But self-care, I mean, you can get that mixed up with selfishness, I guess, because it can come across that way maybe to other people. But it's when you're actually doing it for yourself. So I think, like you said, if you're on at your best. So that's great. And just make sure I didn't miss anything here. Jackie says self-care is showing you care for others too, as you are easier to live with. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Who wants to live with a grouch, Jackie? Yeah, so that's it.
Well, a withdrawn person like I get. I just wouldn't talk to anyone, like if I'm imbalanced, I'm not fighting, I'm not arguing, I'm just like not talking, I'm withdrawn.
Okay, so Candy says, take it from a 52. She's 52. Okay. I thought you were much younger, dear. You're wonderful. So take it from a 52-year-old that wore herself out to nothing. Okay, wore herself out to nothing over giving to the demands of others. Right. Self-care and your self-giving is vital. Yeah, absolutely. Ginger Face just popping in to say hello. Hey. Lovely to see you. So before we get into the books and the decks that we want to show, I was wondering just on the spiritual mindset, how does it affect you spiritually, would you say?
Well, to begin with, my spiritual practice, when it comes to like what I do for my spiritual practice, that's yoga, meditation. Meditation also includes chanting of mantras and working with my chakras, and Shakti, which is the divine feminine. So that kind of what my main practices are. And well, kind of taking up on Qigong, learning a little bit about that as well. So if I don't do those practices, I'm just not present. You see, like as I mentioned, one of my biggest imbalances is being withdrawn, and yoga also. It's a practice that it's a self-care practice for the body, heart, and mind. And yoga in itself means yoking or uniting, right? So for me, if I don't do that, it affects everything. So my body is even to the point of my digestive system is not operating properly if I don't do enough like twists and compressions for my digestive organs. It affects my mind in a way that, again, I'm not balanced. And when I'm not balanced, my natural kind of thing is I experience anxiety. It's so it's like my spiritual practices, they affect everything. So meditation for me, it's important because I am more present, right? So I notice things more. My mind is clearer and I'm present in all areas of my life. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've got down pretty much the same thing. Again, disconnect from yourself and, seeing things from a lower vibration. So, that's just, that's going to affect all areas of your life, isn't it? So, Kristen says, my husband doesn't want me to die early. Bless you. After seeing that my cholesterol has gone up, I'm ready to start treating my body better. Yeah. Once I heal from my hip injury, I will be getting a trainer. That's awesome.
And you see, like asking for help and getting yourself a coach, a trainer, like whatever area, like, what you want to do for your body, for your heart, for your mind, a yoga teacher, a meditation teacher, a spiritual teacher, right? So it's really important. And it like, for me, it takes courage to ask for help. So thank you for pointing it out, Kristen.
Yes, and I just want to say this because I've had people say like there was an orb behind you. I actually have rose incense that Nancy sent to me from North Carolina. So if you see some smoke going back, I mean there might be an orb in the smoke. I don't know. That would be cool. See, Candy says she saw it. She thought there was a spirit floating around me. I wish I would see one sometime. Yeah. Oh, did we lose you, Mascha? No, you're back.
I don't know. Yeah, am I back? Yeah, okay.
You're back, yes.
Hmm.
Okay, no problem. So, do you want to share some of your oracle decks, or however you want to go about it? Just what you would like to share with us.
Well, I have two oracle decks and they're kind of are fairly new to me that I love using for self-care. This one, like I'll share the second one that only arrived a few days ago. But one of my decks, and I only received it, well, kind of 2 months ago, probably 2 months plus. And this is the Reclaim Oracle by Marion Constantine. And this is kind of a two-color deck, right? Soft pink and black. But the guidebook is amazing. In the guidebook, we only get, just one page. But this deck, for me, it's been extremely accurate. I'll just show you a few cards for you. So
That'd be awesome.
they're aged, so they kind of.
Oh, did you edge those in black?
No, they came like that. So
Oh, yeah,
from the
that's
creator,
really,
and the card
really
sizes
awesome.
are smaller.
Okay.
And so they only have keywords, right? Like, we'll have a look. I don't know if my camera will zoom it for you. Defeat. So it's kind of very simplistic artwork, right? And possibly not necessarily the artwork that I normally would have been drawn, but the messages they're so powerful, but also they're really caring and thought provoking, but in a way that they're actionable. And actionable
definitely.
is important to me, and I love this card. Also talking about what I feed my mind. One of the activities I like to do for my self-care for the mind is journaling and reflecting. So this deck kind of sparks that for me.
That's cool.
Let's show another card. Yeah.
And then some. I'm trying to look at it focus. Limitation. Yeah. Boundaries, right?
Yeah. Let's see. Appreciation. Yeah, so just some of the cards, but I don't know. This deck has been almost like magical for me when it comes to self-care and self-reflection. You would think like it's very simple, right? But for me, it's really deep, and it's very kind of gentle in a way. Talking about gentle messages, yet very actionable and very spot on when it comes to what I need to hear. So that's one. Yeah,
awesome. And Kristen said the art on that deck kind of reminds her of Shel Silverstein's art. I don't know who that is.
I don't either.
Okay, you'll have to let us know if she's done oracle decks or what that is, Kristen. I'm interested. Yeah, and I love that deck, by the way. So go right ahead.
Yeah, so my second one, it's again, it only came over the weekend, maybe a few days ago.
Oh, okay.
Friday, Saturday. But this is the Energy Archaeology guide. Oh, this is the guidebook, right, by Ashley Stinton, illustrated by Kelly Feenan. But the guidebook is so amazing, and the bones, by the way. So in the guidebook, every card, what you get the properties, you get the element when it's out of balance, when it's balanced, and it's based on human bones. And I am a bone nerd. I am a bone dork. I'm currently doing a course on bones and muscles related to them. So, and I love using like bones for me also, because I'm a yin yoga teacher. So it's all about exercising the deeper connective tissues like bones and joints, but also it's linking them with Chinese meridians, with the meridians of Chinese medicine and chakras. So nothing exists in isolation, right? So this guidebook is wonderful. But I mean, this deck, I don't have to have it for a long time to love it because I know my bones. But let me just show you. This is the ilium. So when it comes to like connected to your pelvis, you see like there, the two ilium bones there depicted.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And of course, like the cards are scenic, but so here we have the card. Of course, we have ribs, but clavicles, so our collarbones. Right, and the message is open. And again, like when we look at our collarbones where they're located, Chinese meridians of the heart and the lung, one of the branches of the energy network actually runs kind of from your lungs through the heart all the way to your chest and through that area. So you see, like it's very connected to your heart chakra. And openness, soft heart is being open. I'll show you a few other cards.
And you know, I'm so glad you, and I didn't know you were, of course, going to show that deck. I've never seen anything like that. Yeah, and that's definitely something I would love to learn more about is the bones, and a bone deck is awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, and the book is amazing. It kind of gives you the overview. So this is I'll just show you capacity, and what we see here. We see the thoracic spine, and thoracic
Right.
spine is your mid spine, right? So we have thoracic vertebrae, and when it comes to your heart chakra, again, the heart chakra opens from your thoracic spine, right, into
Yeah.
the heart. So we have here
Yeah.
capacity. And also what's in the thoracic spine, the lungs are, right? So kind of in that area around.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah,
kind of
it
have
is.
capacity of breathing and embracing. So for me, talking
Oh,
about
wow.
embodiment of the body, heart, and spirit is just so important.
I love that because I am, you know, kind of right when I started my spiritual awakening, I was learning more about chakras than I did about tarots. So when I saw that they could be combined, especially, with oracle cards, and like you're saying, I didn't even know that the lungs were in the same chakra as the heart, but that makes total sense. So like you're saying with the breathing in and breathing out, and that's self-love, isn't it? Taking care of yourself, being present.
Yeah, but even that connection, like to the collarbone and the chest area, like when we're not balanced, when we're afraid, we are like that, right? So we're compressing the
Yeah.
heart, it's all closed. And when we are like that, we can't even breathe. And naturally, of course, we will kind of become a little bit anxious and stuff because our lungs, we're not exhaling enough. I'll just show you one more
Wow.
card. I can talk about that stuff for like hours, but this one
Yeah.
is blessing and burden, and this is the left scapula, so it's your left shoulder blade.
Okay.
So when we're talking again language of energy, right? So our left side body is our feminine side, our yin side, our moon side, and the right side of the body is our masculine. So
Interesting.
yeah.
And I have, and this is just coming like kind of out of nowhere, but I have like a slipped disc kind of thing, and in my what do you call it? A pinched nerve, and it's right in kind of the middle of my vertebrae, up at the top, but it's right underneath my neck, and yeah, I can like, it's on the right side, so I wonder that just makes. Made me think of that. I'm like, okay, because something be out of balance there. Like you were talking
Yeah.
about the divine masculine, divine feminine. I never knew that.
And is it in your like cervical spine, like more on your neck, or
Mm-hmm.
more kind of on the upper back neck? Yeah. So
Well, both. I mean, it's like right beside. If you go down your vertebrae, it would be my first vertebrae on my right side. That
okay,
might look like
yeah.
left on there, but yeah, it's right there. But it spreads over sometimes. So if I'm lifting something too heavy, I can't lift a lot because it will go out of whack, and I'll be in pain
Yeah.
from it. And it's a weird pain too. It's a different pain than normal, but yeah, it just
And
made
this
me think
area is
about that.
connected to your throat chakra. So
Right. Throat chakra, so communication.
speaking your truth.
Yeah.
Yeah. Creativity
Interesting.
in a way of expressing yourself verbally. Yeah.
Right. Right. Definitely. Well, I have, and I actually told Masha I looked over her channel to see what kind of things that she was working on, and we have actually two of the same decks. So I was going to show the Sacred Self-Care Oracle deck. I think this is a great one to start with for me, just because this is awesome. Like this is like down to the bones. Well, not the bones like you just said, but like down to the foundation of like what you need to do. Like this will tell you. It can be hard hitting. It can be soft. It's awesome. It's also a very feminine deck, but I have found that it works for me. It works for me as well, and I think we need to be in touch with that divine feminine if we're a male. If we're a female, we need to be in touch with that. But we need to be in touch with both, right? So this helps me, a lot with the the feminine part. I just love these cards. Here's the backs. And the ones I picked out. And feel free to jump in anytime, Masha, since you have this as well, or anytime at all. So we got watching a movie. And the reason I picked this one, because there is one in here about animals, right? And how animals can help so much with self-care as well and heal us, right? So look how she's holding the kitty right there. The kitty's just curled up. Cats actually give out pheromones that will help us heal. And so I thought that was perfect. And also watching a movie, just taking time for yourself to just kind of chill out, right?
Mm.
And I got hydrates. So sip, everybody. I'm gonna take mine. And our bodies are made up of what, like 70% or even more of water, 90%, something like that. What sign are you, Mascha, if you don't mind me asking?
Water, Cancer.
Your Cancer. I'm water, Scorpio. So for me, I was reading in some book, I can't remember which one, but it was talking about how water, actually just being in touch with water, like just having, putting your hands in the sink or something like that, that can actually increase your vibration. So just having water to drink,
Yeah,
this,
but
yeah.
even like, well, you see, like elemental self-care, it's another topic, is how much
Oh,
enjoyment we
yeah.
get by watching the fire element. And of course we also, like when we breathe in the air, so we are in that air element, walking barefoot on the ground, earth element, negative ions that are extremely grounding and recharging for us. And of course we have the water, like we love to see the ocean, we love to be in a bathtub. So those things are, well, yeah, we can just kind of even focus on those when it comes to self-care.
Yeah, absolutely. And sorry
Yeah.
for leaving you there for a minute. It was my internet again. So, hello, Scott and Masha, quickly chiming in. The energy archaeology oracle looks and feels amazing. Yes, definitely. All
Yeah,
right,
well, for
and
Scott, you see, like he showed the self-care deck oracle that, like for him it's going to the bones, and for me, you see, like air brain, I just go give me the real bones. That's how I am. That's how my
right,
mind thinks,
right. And I
Yeah,
love
but
that that's different from how I see it, because we can both learn, different ways. I definitely am interested in that. And like massage, like giving yourself a massage. And I think about meridian points, which I'm sure you're familiar with, right? So I know there's certain places, like we were talking about, a spot that might be hurting, like when my head's hurting, sometimes I'll rub my temples to make it better. Is that kind of massage that can bring you to a higher vibration, if you know what I mean? I don't know if that makes sense.
absolutely.
And I've got music. This is a big one for me, because definitely. And look at this one. I love this. This is spend time with friends, and look, they're sharing tarot together, or what it looks like.
I love
So
this card.
yeah, this is a great, and I think this is very important too. I was going to talk about it, grounding, right? So connect with the earth, and I'm guilty of not doing this. And then alone time. Say sometimes it's important. It's not selfish. It's important to take care of ourselves. Like create art. And yeah, I mean, those are the main ones I pulled out of that. So you have another one that you wanted to show?
I have the couple of tarot decks that I can show you. So one of
Yeah.
them is Mother Peace Tarot. And this is my kind of vintage version of it, but I really love it. Again, when it comes to, divine feminine and working with that energy. And look, she's sitting in the yoga pose, which is called Ardha Matsyendrasana, for those who are wondering, that King of the Fishes pose. That's the name
Oh,
of
that's
it.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, but this deck for me has been really wonderful in healing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of them. And the other one is like one of my favorite decks for pretty much anything. Like it's my hug deck, but it's the deck that gives me very clear messages. So it's Playful Heart, or Playful Heart Tarot. It's now available on
Yeah.
pre-order for the second edition.
Oh, that's cool.
That's Page of Swords.
Wow. Okay.
That's the Strength card.
Right.
Yeah, and you can see the colors. They're just so very joyful. But again, this deck is kind of, it's very honest. I mean, it packs a punch, but in a kind way. So it confronts you when you need to be confronted with honesty and
Right.
gentleness, but yet you get the message.
Right. With sincerity too about what you need.
Yeah.
That is really cool. I like that one. I love the
Hmm.
colors. I'm big in
Yeah,
the
I do
colors. So
too.
yeah,
Hmm.
it's really
Yeah,
pretty.
so that's one of my kind of, yeah, bigger self-oracle decks. It's kind of, I keep it by my bedside table. I love it so much.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. I think I'll start doing that actually. I don't have I will take, this might sound weird. I will take decks to bed with me, but I will
Hmm.
actually, and then I'll just grab one and look at it. But I think I'm going to leave like one, by my bed nightstand. I think that would be an awesome idea. So thank you for that, reminding me. So Robin says it's amazing how much self-care I feel just from the warmth of a space heater. Yeah. Or the pressure against my body of a weighted pillow or blanket. Yeah. Yeah. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that when we go into like the tools, Robin. So that's perfect. And then Amy says definitely self-care is capital IS, definitely of importance with any spiritual practice. Doing it this weekend. Yeah, thank
Hmm.
you for being here, Amy. I'm always glad to hear you and see you. So, and if you haven't checked out Amy's channel, it's amazing. She has a way of going through cards in a beautiful, beautiful fashion. So, let's see. Do you? How about we do the yogic path since we have both of it? We both have it.
Hmm.
I'm not talking right.
Yeah, Scott, you show it for a moment. I'll just go and I'm just thinking I'm blurry, maybe because my husband has the screens open next door. So I'll just
Oh
quickly
yeah,
stop my
it might
camera
be.
for a moment and just see if I can just get him to just go and work somewhere in the garage.
No problem. Yeah, take your time.
Yeah,
Okay.
I can still
So
hear you, but yeah, I'm just going to
okay,
mute myself.
sounds awesome. So, yeah, chakra decks are great for vibrational healing work. Well, it's funny you should say that because, Amy, I do have a couple of chakra decks. I have one chakra um, tarot. I'm really looking forward to getting Malamir's chakra tarot deck. So, and then I have at least 3 or 4 chakra oracle. I didn't pull them out for this one, but yeah, I definitely find that's very interesting. I don't know if you were here in the beginning, but I said, that I actually was kind of into chakras through my spiritual practice before I was introduced to the tarot. So when I saw that you could use those two and how they work together, it was just like a blessing because, it really does work for me. I might not work for everybody, but to add chakras and to see where that blockage or whatever is coming from, what you need to heal is so important. I think so. Yeah, definitely. And then she's back. Yay! It is beautiful. Yeah. So this is just like the cover here. I'll let Masha keep getting ready there. And so here's the cover. This just goes over the box. This is just stunning. So here's the box that it comes in, magnetic strip. And then you open it up. May these cards bridge you to your higher self or highest self. Beautiful guidebook. So awesome. And then under that is another box. So you pull out the string and then you get this. And this is where the cards are. Whoops. So I have probably done something that you don't have on yours. I got these when I first, probably around March. So a couple months after I started learning about tarot, everything, and I was having trouble with the words and having to look them up all in the guidebook. So I did a little bit of writing on mine so I could just tell like what kind of what it means, for that particular card, and it really opened up this deck for me. But and Masha, you do have this, right? Oh, I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Now I can. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I love it. It's I love taking it to yoga classes, asking people like to pull a card when I teach workshops as well. Yeah, it's a
Right.
wonderful deck, and it kind of gives a overview of chakras and major yogic deities as well, and concepts of
Mm-hmm.
yamas and niyamas. So our how like guidelines of how to treat yourself and how to behave in the world.
Yeah, yeah. So I'll just show a couple that I pulled out here. So I'm not even gonna try to do these, but I thought this was a great one that I saw on your channel that I already had that I have not used really for self care, but just for kind of inspiration, right? But then after I saw it was on your channel, I was like, yeah, it can be so useful and helpful in self care. So self study, and then how about
Svadhyaya.
okay, yeah, what she said. And and this is Krishna. So I love this God of love, and it makes me think of self-love. But yeah, loving ourselves because everything's connected, and that's just my opinion. But karma, positive actions, and feel free to jump in, Mascha, anytime you want to. And I believe this is Parvati. I believe I'm saying that right.
Yeah. Goddess Parvati, yeah.
Yeah, and she's the goddess of yoga. So I wanted to see if you wanted to tell us. So I just a little jumping off point. So I broke my ankle back about 3 years ago, and I hadn't had my spiritual awakening or anything. But somebody mentioned to me, do you think you could do like it's called bed yoga, I believe. It's for people who are bound in bed, and I was for several months, and so I started looking up on YouTube about bed yoga and yoga that you can do, and that really helped me a lot. So what does yoga mean to you? How do you incorporate that into your daily practice? What does it do for you?
Well, yoga, it saved my life, and to begin with, and I started yoga because I did tell the story a few times on my channel, on somebody else's channels, that I started yoga when I started having mini strokes from the age of 18, and they would the frequency of them would accelerate, right? And I discovered yoga when I was 25, almost 26 years old, around 26. And I googled yoga, right? Because if you're familiar with mini strokes, mine were ischemic. So how it would happen, my right side of the body would get numb and paralyzed. So even like if I would move fingers, I wouldn't feel it. I would move, I would see, and my brain, that side of the brain would process what I'm doing that I'm not feeling, and my speech would be distorted. So I know what, I'm very clear what I want to say, but my speech, I won't be able to produce it. So that's kind of my mini strokes were, and they would kind of last, not that long, really. The numbness will be probably for kind of about an hour or two, and then kind of I lose the speech, and then in 2-3 hours I will get really nauseous and really horrible headaches that will continue for the next few days. So I kind of, a few doctors told me that it may be genetics because my grandfather had many strokes. A few doctors told me it's stress related, but the thing is that nobody told me how to prevent them, right? Apart from, of course, they say lifestyle changes, but my lifestyle was reasonably healthy, really. So I discovered that, what happened to me physiologically, of course, why they happened, the oxygen and the blood flow to the brain would be cut. So that was the reason, right, of my mini stroke. And what I discovered Googling, that yoga actually can help to bring the oxygen and blood into the brain, towards the brain, through the breath work, through placing your head lower than your heart. So that's how I came to yoga, and I started yoga at the age of 26, and now I'm 40, and I haven't had any episodes since then. So yeah.
Wow,
and also,
really?
Yeah, but also you see, everything again exists in connection, because when I started yoga, very naturally and organically, I changed my diet. I took up on meditation, and it's kind of it's all sort of related, but yoga was that turning point for me to gain my health back again, to gain my life back, because
Wow.
I don't know how many mini strokes people can survive. I've had at
Right.
least like 8 or 9 of them, or even more.
Wow.
I kind of, after 5 I stopped counting, because it just was like a part of my life. And they would actually happen during the time of stress, when I would be like studying for exams or having pressure at my job. So that would be, and not having enough sleep. Yeah, so that's how I
Wow.
discovered yoga, and what it is for me. It became, well, I discovered it for the purposes of healing. So it really, yoga is a spiritual practice. We can use yoga as a therapy, but it's more kind of more in Ayurveda area, because Ayurveda is the science of life and healing. So if we use yoga to heal our injuries, it's kind of, we're practicing yoga, but yoga is a spiritual discipline, and yoga therapy can be seen as the healing practice. So and of course, as I mentioned, because of that, because body is connected to the spirit, and while I only discovered yoga for purposes of healing my mini strokes and dealing with my anxiety and improving my sleep, it did so much more to me. And with that, with the breath awareness, with discovery of meditation, it really has changed my life, and it's one of the practices I swear by. And by saying yoga also, I don't mean the only yogic poses. Your yoga can be a qigong. Your yoga can be going for a walk in the nature. What brings you to that connection to the spirit, and what fills you with vitality and full presence.
Definitely, yeah. And I love how you say, yoga saves your life. So I know that with my mom, before she went to the nursing home, she had, oh my gosh, at least like 7 or 8 mini strokes right in a row. And they are terrifying to watch. They're terrifying to watch. I've never had one, but they're terrifying. So I'm so glad that you mentioned that, because yoga, I believe, does it. I want to, learn more about it, because I'm still learning all this stuff. So that's definitely something I want to learn more about. So thank you for bringing that up and for talking about your and you have to be vulnerable and to talk about things like that. So thank you for your vulnerability. I see the brightness in you, and that you want to share and help others. Yeah, and that perfect leads into health, right?
Ojas, yeah, that's kind of the ojas of vibrancy, vitality. Yeah.
Yeah, self-discipline, right? And balance. So I think if you're not taking care of yourself, you can be out of balance, right? So that's perfect how this works. Breath, you're talking to the lungs, being in the heart chakra, using breath to calm yourself, finding that pause.
Yeah. And breath is pranayama in Sanskrit. And when we look at prana, prana, it's breath, but also with capital P, prana is the everything, right? Prana is our chi, right? So that what we know, like in qigong, right? That's prana. So yeah, and that's the thing. And it's quite interesting, how our lungs are connected to our heart. And that's exactly in the middle of our energy body, where the connection of the inside and outside world happens through the breath.
Definitely, yeah. And I just pulled this one out, especially because of what Kristen was saying earlier about, a little selfishness is okay. Like, this means self-absorption, but I see this as, something that's very positive, that brings in, it may seem like it's selfishness, but it's actually, you're making yourself better by healing yourself and being, like you were saying, better for others. And we can't do that when we're suffering from,
and the one that the card
like
that you showed, the samadhi, it's actually the 8th limb of yoga. So it's the 8th step of yoga, and it means the liberation, if you will, nirvana, enlightenment. The other words that you can use for samadhi as translation. Yeah. So self-absorption, in a way that yourself is absorbed with the universe, that liberation and awareness of oneness.
Right. Definitely. So I wanted to go back a little bit because I like this. Candy said that just got the kitchen gleaming to wake up to, and the coffee pot set up ready. That's self-love for me. Yeah, that's pretty awesome. So
Tea is for me.
Tea is for you. Oh, you know what? I wrote that down because I did actually Jackie, who helps me so much with my videos, and Jackie's. I can't say enough good things about Jackie, but Jackie
We
mentioned
love
that
Jackie.
you love your tea, and that's part of your self care. So yeah, do you want to talk a little bit about that? Because I'm interested.
Yeah, well, tea for me, the practice I do is called Cha Dao, like the Tao or the Dao of tea. And I learned this practice in Taiwan when I went to the center called Global Tea Hut. So it's pretty much what I do. I mean, I sip tea throughout the day, but tea
Mm-hmm.
is a quiet meditation. So when I do a tea ceremony, there is like the music can be playing, but not the music that has words in it, right? So more kind of relaxing music could be playing, but I actually prefer doing it in silence. And you use for many teas, because there are different teapots and stuff, but you use bowls instead of cups, and you can just use a
Oh
rice
yeah.
bowl, right? So to have the tea, and the practice involves to have at least 3 bowls of tea in silence. So you kind of got, and of course I do
Oh,
it on the floor, seated on the floor, but you can do it on a cushion, on a chair, whatever is more comfortable for you. So yeah, and this practice is talking about prana or chi, right? How our intelligence is centered in the spine, right? In the spinal column,
okay.
and that's where our chakras are, right? So our energy body is. When it comes to a plant of tree, the intelligence of the tree is in every cell of the tree. So pretty much when I drink the tea with the leaves, I become it, the tree becomes me, right?
Oh, that's
So,
cool.
well, I become the tree because I kind of absorb the intelligence that is saved
Right.
in that energy. I'm a big tree person, so yeah. So that practice is very important for me.
That's cool, and I've never heard that. Tea is not, I don't think, as talked about or as much in America as it is in the other countries and in
Mm.
some other countries. And I think it's, yeah, I'd love to learn more about that too. That's awesome. So, let's see, kind of books. So, do you have any books that you'd like to share on self care?
Books for self-care. Well, one of them, when you talk about, letting go, getting quiet, one of the
Mm-hmm.
simpler books that I really enjoyed, and it's only a tiny little book, it's just slightly bigger probably than a tarot card, and it's called Making Space by Thich Nhat Hanh. And this book is just, it's tiny, as I mentioned, like it's not only small, but it's only like 94 pages, and it gives you outline on breathing, sitting, breathing room, inviting the sound, making an altar, metta meditation, meditation on compassion. So this book for me, sleeping, it's been really wonderful, and such a simple guide for those of us who really I guess trying to find the time. And that's the thing, like when it comes to tea practice, my teacher always say make space for tea, right? And making space for our self-care, making space for our meditation. So that's one of the books that I really love. And another book that's been really powerful for me, also by Thich Nhat Hanh, it's called The Art of Living. So yeah, I have the book. I mean, everything is just scribbled in and highlighted, as you can see in this book. So it's, yeah, The Art of Living is peace and freedom in here and now. So the title of the book says it all. Highly recommend this one. And but there are teachings of emptiness, signlessness, aimlessness, impermanence, ones of the big teachings. So they're my kind of, when it comes to mindfulness, they're probably the ones that I would recommend. But of course, there are so many more books on that. And when it comes to also self-care, for me, journaling is a big part of self-care. And this book, The Artist Way, and that's the new edition of it has been really important. So The Artist Way, if you're not familiar, it's a very popular book. It was a very popular book. It introduces us to morning pages. So when you pretty much I call it mind dump, right? 3 pages you write in the morning, and but also the book includes a lot of creativity exercises, taking yourself on an artist date, whether it would be just kind of going to a cinema by yourself or going for a walk by yourself. So this one, when it comes to, I guess, self-care for the mind, the book
Right.
that I highly recommend. When, of course, I am a big person for chakras and
Mm-hmm.
embodiment. For me, this book, it's only a little book, but is by Paul Greeley, and Paul Greeley is the teacher of my three teachers, actually, senior teachers, and this one is a yogi's guide to chakra meditation. Again, very simple book, but it introduces the practices, and it's really hard to find. I don't want to say authentic, but books, traditional books, how on chakra meditation and pranayama exercises, and this book is definitely one of them. So again, for the spirit, for the mind, this is for me is a very important book. And of course, I have two books on Ayurveda because I am a big self-care person, and I practice. Ayurveda in Chinese medicine, Ayurveda is the healing practice that originated in India, and it means the science of life. And it includes your self-care practices, essential oils, using self-massage, and of course, diet. Diet is very important in Ayurveda. But this particular book is the self-care. So it's called the Everyday Ayurveda Guide to Self-Care by Kate O'Donnell. And she also has two other books when teach you how to eat seasonally and how to eat according to your dosha, to your constitution, Ayurvedic constitution based on elements. But this book is really good. It's just so good. It kind of gives you some recipes to make, like cinnamon water, make fire up Agni tea, so fire up your digestion teas. Some healing recipes included in this book, so seasonal flows. It's just wonderful, and it's very comprehensive, and it's very accessible, and you don't need much, and all Ayurvedic ingredients that you can buy, they're actually inexpensive and easily accessible again. But this book kind of introduced to tissues of the body. Also, it's really educational, and the subtle body, physical body, mind, exactly what we're talking about here today.
Mm-hmm.
It gives you the ideas for dinacharya, which means the daily routine, and ratricharya, which is your ritucharya, which is the seasonal routine. And explains some medicinal qualities of things. So I really love this book. And this one is I guess probably a shorter read, but also a wonderful book by Sarah Kuchera, Ayurvedic Self-Care Handbook. Again, very applicable advice here, suggesting rituals for your day, suggesting seasonal practices. And of course, all of the books, they have, just give you an example. Tongue scraping is one of the Ayurvedic practices that you can do, very, very simple. You can use a spoon or you can buy a tongue scraper. Practices swishing with oil, again, exercise and movement. It's just lots of things. But if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer. If you have any questions about those books, do let us know in the comments below. But this one does your khichdi recipe, right? Khichdi is a dish of rice and mung beans that is really nurturing for our digestive system and very grounding.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing all that. That was really interesting because I'm getting into books. I really wasn't much of a reader before, my spiritual awakening. Now I find myself reading a lot. So those are all great suggestions. So we had a question, and I'm sorry I missed it at first, Amy. Then Amy wants to know, Mascha, what teas would you recommend for balancing different? Is it doshas? I don't know what that word is. Do you?
Yeah, doshas, like how we have a constitution, a particular constitution that connected to elements. So I'm Vata Pitta.
Okay.
So what it means that I'm space and air and fire and water, right? So Vata, it connects with the element of space and air, and that's why my mind is like swords and in Page of Swords, right? So that's me in
Right.
my kind of head, in my mental body, but my physical body is more Pitta, which is the fire and water element. So it kind of describes that kind of, I have sort of medium body constitution. I may get heartburn occasionally, not very often. I'm kind of more vata, but it's complicated in a way that figuring out what you are. But your dosha is pretty much who you are. It's your constitution, elemental constitution in your body. So, for example, if you have too much fire in you, right? So if you have that constitution, which Ayurveda it's Pitta, if you have chilies or if you have very hot, spicy food, it's very imbalancing for you, right?
Right.
So it will be like you will be probably craving it because it's very natural to you, but it's kind of, it will aggravate you. It make you get like a little angry, right? Because of that, too much fire, and the more fiery food you put into yourself, it will increase your fire and how you express yourself, right, in the world. So, for example, if I am vata, and especially when it comes to air and space and winds and colder seasons, if I eat salads, they're just extremely damaging for me because they're just too airy and too light. What I need to eat more hot and more grounding foods. So that's how kind of you balance it. But to Amy's question about teas and balancing doshas, when it comes to my tea ceremony practice, I actually don't use any herbal teas, right? So what I refer to is Camellia sinensis. So when it's green tea, black tea, red tea, oolong tea, pu'er, sheng, and shou. If you're kind of tea person, you probably would know those. So they're the varieties that come from a tea tree, but not the tea tree as we see a tea tree oil, but more Camellia sinensis, right? When it comes to balancing doshas, I would probably, absolutely. Tisanes are wonderful for balancing doshas. Like, for example, well, we all know chamomile tea, right? So if you feel like your mind is racing and you can't fall asleep, maybe having chamomile tea in the evening can be very nurturing for you. For example, if your digestive system, if you like dosha kapha, if you have too much earth in you, like for example your digestive system digestion is sluggish, you feel heavy, using ginger tea is really nice because it's warming and it's really great for your digestive system, and it's great for vatas as well. Like if I have too much air and I run cold, ginger is very warming. So there are quite a few, and but also even like Camellia sinensis, if you have like kind of rich in the morning, I would probably have red tea because it's invigorating, so it wakes up my mind. Now I'm having green tea because it's kind of nice and sunny outside, and the green tea for me it's very neutral and I love having it in spring. But in the evening I would probably have pu'er tea because it's more kind of licoricey and rich and more grounding and thicker in itself. I hope that somehow answers the question.
Did you see Kristen's comment here? So she said, I am Pitta Vata. I hope I said that right. But I am built like a kappa. I'm not sure if this was a legitimate quiz. Okay.
Yeah, well, quizzes are really, it's really hard to find an accurate quiz, right, Kristen? It's all like, that's why for me, doshas are important, vata, pitta, kapha, but it's more important to figure out what elements are more present in your body. And I think that sort of will give a better guideline how to apply the teachings of Ayurveda and yoga, because everything is like, we are individuals, right? So concept of bi-individuality is so important in it applies to everything, like what tarot decks we like. It's just so individual and nobody can tell us what to like and what to connect with, only us. It's our journey to figure those things out.
Right. And I know like one book in particularly changed my life, and I believe it has a lot to do with self-care as you go into it. And that's, I might say his name wrong, but it's Eckhart Tolle or Eckhart Tolle. I'm not sure which one is right. It's Tolle. And I have it on my Kindle, so I don't have it to show you. And I believe Mascha has it on her Kindle, so we can't show you. But it's The Power of Now. You put it in Amazon. It is absolutely amazing. And it taught me so much about living in the present, living in now, not worrying about the future, right? Because it hasn't happened yet. So why are we worrying about something that we don't even know if it's going to happen? It might not happen, right? So why are we worrying about that? And I think that can lower our vibration, right? And then the past, well, you can't change that. That's done. So
Mm.
the idea of the book is to stay in the present moment, stay present with the person you're with, the people that are around you, instead of thinking about other things that you can't control. And I think that's kind of the ego that comes in and takes over. And I think self-care helps a lot with that, and they go hand in hand. So what do
Mm.
you think about that?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And we kind of tend to live either in our memories and regrets of the past or in our
Mm-hmm.
worries and anxieties about the future or planning if it's kind of in a more positive way. So, yeah, I totally agree with that, like with what you said there. And I read the book, and the book is really amazing and very inspiring of
Yeah.
learning the art of being present, really, because, like, also, we want to control things, but and sometimes it's important for us to be able to be in control, but also it's important to also acknowledge that we shouldn't worry about something we cannot control, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like other people or something that outside of our control. Why worry?
Right. Right. No, I completely agree. Yeah, so tell me, like things that you have maybe around your home, or something that helps you to practice self-care that you
Hmm.
use for that, like objects or
Yeah,
whatever it
well,
is.
I've got crystals around the house. Like, I mean, I've got crystals everywhere. So it's one of those things that I really love. But also, I've got diffusers in 3 rooms of my house,
Yep.
oil diffusers. Yeah. So I am
Mm-hmm.
I'm big on essential oil therapy.
Yep.
So I really love, like, I always have them going. So that's kind of one of the things that I really love. I do love incense, especially, well, I like
Yep.
the very expensive Japanese incense, but that's the one I like.
Oh, what's the
Aloes
name
wood,
of it?
particular. Japanese, well, Chinese or Japanese, but my favorite also, well, it's very difficult to get these days, and like it's very pricey. It's Aloes wood.
I don't think
It's
I've heard of that. Yeah.
Aloes wood. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
I've
but
not
there
heard of
are
that.
different names to it, but that's the way kind of I call it. So, really like those objects, as I mentioned, oracles, tarot cards, oils. Again, or Scott and I, just before we went live, peppermint oil we were talking
Yes.
about, yeah. And I really like, well, this doTERRA oils, but aroma touch is really nice. But it's a blend. It includes like mint, peppermint, and spearmint. Really nice, refreshing blend. And I also like, big fan of one of the cheapest oils, actually, wild orange, because it's very energizing.
Oh
It's
wow.
very invigorating. So it's
Yeah.
camera, my camera. My camera is actually
It's a.
focused. We just on YouTube is not so. Right, so that and what else I have around the house? Well, not around the house, but Epsom salts. I have
Oh yeah,
like
me too.
I have a lot of Epsom salts. Like I get them in bulk. I store them in my laundry. So Epsom salt bath is a big one for me when it comes to self care, and like
Mm-hmm.
like having a bath every day for me is essential. And I know, like, for people it's kind of weekend thing, but for me it's one of non-negotiable components of my self-care is my bath, either with Epsom salts, magnesium salts, or essential oils, or both. Yeah.
Right. Yeah,
And what else
definitely.
I have around my house? I have a bolster I'm sitting on, right? I sit on the floor, so it's a yoga bolster. I have a yoga
Oh, nice.
mat as my tools.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
that's great. Yeah, and I have lavender Epsom salts that I use for baths, and then very
Mm.
very nice to have. And then I have two lavender candles that I will light, and turn off the light, let the lavender just kind of, and it's very relaxing, very relaxing when
Mm.
you do that. I need to get back to doing that more. So thank you for that. But so a couple of things when I went into my spiritual awakening, I started watching the spiritual teachers on YouTube. One of them, Aaron Doughty. I don't know if you've ever seen him. He's American, but he was showing that a lot of things that he uses, like throughout his home to be at a higher vibration, right, for self care, right? And so I got a lot of these things, and they have helped a lot, but I don't use them as much as I can, some of them, and some of them I use all the time. But he was talking about a trampoline. I know, like chubby boy on a trampoline. That doesn't sound good, but it's actually, I got the one that he suggested, and it holds, definitely my weight, and it doesn't like throw you up in the air. It's just a small little trampoline that you can just go up and down, and I believe that moves, right, that energy within us. So if you have negative energy, I've like stopped in the middle sometimes of a phone call, that I have for my job, and gone and been like, okay, I just need to bounce for 2 or 3 seconds, right, and get that energy, that negative energy that might be coming in, and move that. And I try to move it to the heart chakra, like you're talking about, so that we can transform it. Because you can't get rid of energy, but I believe we can transform it into other energy, which you can transform it into a higher place, right? So, yeah, I have a trampoline. I have these kettlebells, and I don't use these as much either. But again, just when I'm working, I'll sit here and I'll do this sometimes just to get, something flowing. Just
I love
not.
kettlebells. I'm Russian. They originated from Russia. They were
Oh,
used
did
to
they?
like
I didn't
weight
know
things.
that.
Yeah. They were used as weights,
Amazon.
like when you buy like rice and grains. So yeah, but I have a few of those, and I have a few weights. And I just wanted to comment actually, bouncing. Bouncing is one of the
Oh, yeah.
most wonderful practices that you can do. And like if you have a trampoline, or even just shaking your body and bouncing on the ground, right? It's really,
Right.
really important because, well, you said how for you it helps you shift your state, but it's natural for us, like to shift emotion, we need emotion. So movement will shift your emotion. So yeah, I'm a big fan of bouncing, and it's really good for our fascia, so our like connective tissue, so they're nice and bouncy, and it's really great for our joints. It's big fan.
Awesome. Sorry, I was just taking a little sip here. So, Scott, have you ever made a video explaining the specifics of your spiritual awakening? I don't think I have. I've kind of talked around it, and put parts of it in my video. But thank you for the suggestion, Kristen. That's awesome. And yes, Jackie is fast. She's already got that in there. So, another thing that I got from him is this. And this is, it might just look like a blanket, but this is a chilly blanket. So this actually, this side right here will lower your temperature, which is known that if you lower your temperature at night, that it will actually make you sleep better. And I'm a like hot-blooded person anyway, so I need cool. I've got a fan going all the time, and I love using this. But if you don't, and you don't like the cold when you're sleeping, the opposite side is the warm side. So it will raise your temperature if you need it to be raised. And sometimes this helps people to sleep as well. The other thing is, I still resonate so much with my 80s music, but music I think is so important. And he was talking about chill step music. And have you ever heard of that, Masha?
No.
Called Chill Step. So yeah, I can't play it, of course, because YouTube. But it is a great, just kind of a low, but high vibrational. When I say low, I just mean it's not like electronic dance music, but it has like the beats of that in a more like relaxed, calming way. And I love to put that on sometimes when I'm at work, because it just comes out and it's soothing. So I don't know if any of you have heard of Lindsay Sterling. She was on America's Got Talent. She plays the violin like no one I've ever heard of before. And she has a lot of, if you just look up Chill Step on Spotify, you'll find some amazing playlists. And she's on a lot of those. And it's beautiful to listen to that for me. And so I changed a lot of my music taste, just when I had my awakening, just through doing those little things and buying those little things that have helped me. So yeah, it's, you can do practical things that'll help you. So the time has flown by. We are
I
at
know.
an hour 18. So let me see. So what about the tarot? Do you I think that, tarot can be used for self-care and talks about self-care a lot. I was just wondering, what do you think about that? Like, how does that incorporate self-care for you in the tarot specifically?
Well, you see, like, I'm a big fan of, and I know many people don't do health readings, but I do health readings for myself. I do readings about my diet for myself. I do readings about wellness for myself, right? So I am like, I will show you. Well, yesterday I did a video on the star card in Tarot de Marseille, right? And I kind of gave an example, sort of a fun example. For example, if I ask the cards a question, what can I do to improve my diet, right? And
Yeah.
then I have this card, and you see, like, if you just look at the title in French, you say less oil, less toile, right? And if I read just less oil, right? Even like that, this message, okay, maybe I should avoid oil, I should eat
Oh,
less
yeah.
fatty foods, right? So kind of
Yeah.
getting messages like that. And I keep asking
That's cool.
questions like that all the time. And yeah, so very simple way. Well, of course, I do use cards, tarot cards, and oracle, two decks that I showed you, especially the Reclaim Oracle for journaling. So I take a message, I ask the cards to give me a message, right? I pull, if it comes to, like, when it comes to oracles, generally it's one card, sometimes more. When it comes to tarot, minimum of 3 cards. And then I reflect through journaling. I often, well, I got like little card stands, so I may leave the card for the day or even like for a week. Or if I'm kind of out of the house, I just take a picture on my phone and just reflect on the cards throughout the day.
Yes, and if you haven't seen, I was actually this morning, which would have been last night for you. Yeah,
Mm.
Masha did a premiere and she went over the star in Marseille, and it was awesome. So you can definitely find that on her channel. I would highly recommend that. And it was all about that star card, wasn't it? So I remember you
Yeah.
telling the different ones. Very interesting.
Yeah, but
So,
it's a geeking way, like, it's sort of like hypothesizing. It's like me, geeking out on Marseille. That's my series on my channel. So
well, I don't know. I think a lot of us, and I'm including myself, so I can say this. I think a lot of us on here it might be considered geeks, and that's okay because geeks are just cool. So there you go. I think the only thing I wanted to show is like I showed Shauna's tags that she introduced me to, and inside is my favorite tarot deck. And so Jackie asked me, when we were coming up with ideas, um, she's like my right hand, but she was saying, no, do you have like a hug deck? And I know you said, I think you showed yours, right? I was like, what's a hug deck? I don't get it. And she told me, like,
yeah,
look, a deck that gives you a hug. So it would be the playful heart for you, right?
yeah, it's a multitasker.
Yeah, yeah. And so this is my favorite deck, but it would definitely be my my hug deck too, because I know it seems like how is that a hug deck? Well, for me, bright colors, and I actually have an oracle that we probably can't get to it. It's the language of color and how color can affect your mood, right? And I just get lost in these, and it just brings me to a place of happiness. It does. It just makes me feel happiness and joy looking at such bright colors and just getting in, kind of intoxicated in the cards. Just look.
Mm.
I mean, to me, that's just I feel that. It's like the empath comes out of me and I can feel this card and the high vibrations that it's bringing. So this is definitely my little hug deck.
Yeah,
So yeah.
really nice. Yeah. By the way, Shauna's tags are just so amazing, so clever.
What's that again?
No, Shauna, the tags that she sent you, the ones that you showed now,
Yes,
yeah, it's just
yes.
so clever, such a clever way
Yep,
of
and I've got them ready to
keeping the.
go. Yeah, I got them ready to go for my work week. They're like right behind me, but they come
Mm.
from packs of like I believe 100, and there's like any color that you want. And yeah, so she sent me one as a thanks for being on my channel, which was unexpected, and thank you again, Shauna. But I'm gonna be doing those during, it's kind of an artistic thing, that you can do. Get the pen and then just put whatever color you want on
Mm.
your tag, and then you just put it on the bag, and you don't have to worry about what deck is in that bag, and it saves time and it's pretty too. So yeah, you're right. So let's see. I think we are. coming to the end, and if that's okay with you, Shauna, but I did want to, or I'm sorry, Masha. Oh my gosh, see my words, it's Krista too. I was thinking about Shauna looking at her tag. Okay, so Masha, you want to tell us about like anything that you have coming up on your channel, any like lives, would you like to mention?
Well, when it comes to my lives, and I'm kind of need to get it all confirmed, but hopefully on the weekend, I will have a lovely lady coming onto my channel from Tarot Clarity. Her name is Marianne, and her channel is very new to me. I
Okay, me
discovered
too.
her. But I only discovered her through the workshop on Tarot de Marseille I did. So she's very knowledgeable. She's been reading tarot for like 45 years, and she's a big person on Italian historic decks and Terra de Marseille. So hopefully she will be coming onto my channel this weekend on my Saturday, which is Friday night for you. And I have, I'm passionate about Terra de Marseille. So I have the ongoing feature on my channel, Geeking Out on Marseille, where we go in depth in the history of particular cards or different types of Terra de Marseille. I also have a series on my channel, and I haven't done much on that, called Sources and Resources, where I talk about, I did one on Sibylla, where I talk about different systems of cartomancy and where they originated from, and what books or what courses you can do, what resources available online, and what are the options for the decks. So I have this feature as well. What else do I have? I have another feature, RWS, side by side with RWS, because I love RWS as well. And the video that I'm going to be making soon is placing Solabusca next to RWS, because Solabusca is that old Italian tarot dating 1491 that Pixie was inspired by when she saw the exhibition in England in the British Museum. Yeah,
I didn't even know this. Amazing.
Yes, I will be doing a video on that. So, and I will be doing more interviews. So if any of you here, if you want to come onto my channel, drop me a line. You can just comment somewhere underneath. You can get in touch with me on Facebook, or you can email me at my email, Musings by Mascha, one word, @gmail.com. Yeah, so they're kind of the ones that the probably things that I'm passionate about and love doing on my channel.
That sounds awesome. Yeah, and I really enjoy your channel. And again, just thank you for being here. So there's a couple of things I have coming up let's see, get the dates right. So my next live will be, and one of them is actually in the chat, and it's with Kristen, Louise, and with Patrice, and we're going to go kind of about psychological aspects of the tarot. So I'm a geek too, so I'm have my psychology major, but I don't have like my master's or anything like Kristen has, or Patrice and Vernetta. They are very much into that and incorporating that. So I can't wait for that one. That's on the 23rd on Saturday, and then I have a live with Gerald and Ben going over the Bone Fire Tarot. I said it right this time. On the 26th, Tuesday, 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And then I had Janine Worthington on Saturday, the 30th of October. Forgot what time. I think it's 3 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And she is the creator of the In Between Tarot, which is amazing. You need to get it if you don't have it. But and then I'm going to do a Halloween birthday party live. I want to personally invite you, Mascha. I hope you can join, and everybody in chat. Where it is my birthday, but I want to make it about my friends too, and spend it with my friends. So I'm going to bring people on, and they can tell me their scary stories or whatever you want to talk about. Just things about Halloween, whatever you want to talk to, and we'll just have a great chat. So that's what I have for the rest of the month. And I think, that's all I have. What about you, Mascha? Is there anything else you'd like to say?
Just to like, because just exciting, Bonfire Terror, right? There's
Yeah,
actually the creator of Bonfire Terror lives in my area,
I
and
knew she was from
when we,
Australia.
from Newcastle region, yeah, and when we actually do like coffee catch-ups, terror catch-ups here, when of course when we are allowed, when like minus COVID. So I've met her a few times. She's really wonderful and very talented.
Yes, and in fact, when I got the bonfire, Masha, I loved it so much that I started looking for her other decks right away.
Mm.
And then I know she's coming up with a new one, which I can't wait to get. But Masters in Theology, yes, 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 yes. So also train of thought. Squirrel. Okay, I'm back. That's just me. All right, so yeah, so I was looking, and there is an oracle that you may have heard of. Masha, is called the Word or Weird. I don't know how to
Mm.
say it right. WYRD.
Yeah,
I
weird, yeah.
believe it's Sharon or Susan Howard, and it's about. I don't know what it's about, but I saw the images. And I was like, oh my God, it's better than the bone fire almost. It's
Mm.
just beautiful. She's a tattoo artist. Her name is Gabby Agnes, or is it Angus West?
Yeah, Gabby. I know her
Gabby, I
as
believe
Gabby.
is
Yeah.
Gabby Angus West, I believe is how you say it.
Yeah.
You can look up her stuff. She has the bone fire on there. So yeah, thank you for that. Thank you,
Mm.
Leanne. Thank you, Jackie. And yeah, weird. Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
Is it weird or word?
Yeah, I think it's Weird by of Sarah Howard or something like that.
Sarah
Yeah.
Howard. Yeah, I knew there's a Howard and an S in the first name, but yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, and I can't find it anywhere. And I can't wait to see if it becomes available again, but I think it might be a limited edition. But anyways, I think we have gone. Yeah, we're right on the 90-minute mark, which is
Mm.
what we had planned for. So I wanted to thank everybody in chat and for watching this back on replay. If you did, thank you guys, and hope you'll come back. Please like and subscribe to Masha's channel. You will not be bored at all. She has the most wonderful energy around her, and I could watch her all day. So thank you for being with me. And I appreciate the time that we've had, and I have learned a lot, and I'm sure it came across to others as that way as well from you. So thank you.
Thank
And
you.
yeah,
Thank you so much for having me. And thank you so much, everybody who joined. I hope that the blurriness will go away once the video uploads. I don't know what was happening here because all the internet is fine. It just was a YouTube, so I apologize for that. But yeah, so thank you so much. And enjoy the rest of your Sunday and happy new week for us in Southern Hemisphere.
all right, yep, absolutely. So thank you, everybody, and we will see you soon. And Masha, you hang out with me for a minute, and I'm going to go ahead and hopefully I will see you guys soon. No, I will. Love you all. Thanks for being part of this, and have a wonderful day.